I'm just saying, if I were a good NFL head coach, if I were a hot offensive coordinator, and that coaching cycle's going to come around, and they're like, hey, do you want the Giants job? Or do you want the Michigan job? I think the Michigan job is much better.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
They're doing a new show about a Japanese interpreter.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they're doing I don't know if it's a documentary or actors are in it.
It's got a.
I think it's a drama.
It's a real show.
It's like a scripted show?
Yeah.
About a Japanese interpreter?
Yes.
I wonder who's getting paid for that.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
You ain't buying no tickets.
Who isn't?
You're not going to these
I'm a
games.
fan. Of course I'm not. There's a fan. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but if you were a fan, I thought you were a fan of the Hurricanes. You're not
They told me.
They
I
smashed
told them
you.
to donate my tickets.
Yeah, so I get it. But the fans travel. They have money, believe it or not. It's
They
amazing.
don't.
Somebody's
in this
got
economy,
money.
in this economy,
But they have money. I don't know. See what Kelsey says about the economy.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Look, the trend continues to go to Blake Corum. He's still available. I can't believe he's still available. So if you have Kyron Williams, you got to have Blake Corum on your roster. And if you don't have Kyron Williams, I think you still want Blake Corum on your roster. You got to have these insurance policies on your roster at the very least. Even in a shallow league, if Blake Corum's floating out there, don't let him float out there. The last thing you want to have happen is for him to end up on some other team and then taking you the next couple weeks to win a championship.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
It's a Monday morning. It's a holiday week. It's time to rise and grind right here with the early line on the Sports Grid Network. Donnie Rightside and Tom Vecchio. The next 2 hours, we got you covered. We'll hit every single thing that happened this weekend and take a look at what's going to take place this week, which includes a Monday night football game with Phillip Rivers once again back under center for the Indianapolis Colts. We had the college football playoff Friday night and into Saturday. Then we had a Saturday doubleheader in the NFL and a complete slate yesterday, which saw some absolutely wild games right down the finish, which is no surprise. Bad beats, yep, you had them yesterday. Teams getting shut out of the playoffs, you saw that. You saw incredible final game touchdowns like the Detroit Lions had, only to be taken off the board. The time runs out and the game is over. And me watching that game going like, what did the refs actually explain? Who actually won this game? Because I saw the Steelers cheering. It's like, they just said the touchdown counted, but it didn't. All of that and much more over the next 2 hours, Tom. What a crazy weekend. Let's get it popping today.
Yeah, let's get it started. A crazy weekend to your point. Teams being eliminated, a few teams clinching. Really so much going on across both college football and the NFL. Donnie, there's so much to discuss. There's injuries. We're going to have coaching changes. We're going to have teams still fighting for their playoff lives. The Lions, despite that loss, as you mentioned, they're technically not eliminated from the playoffs. Their odds are super low, but they're not eliminated just yet. We saw Lamar Jackson get hurt last night. There's so much going on.
Yeah, by the way, some of these quarterbacks getting injured yesterday and not finishing games. Lamar Jackson, you went up the middle for 3 yards, looked like you got your back barely touched, and you couldn't come back into that football game in the biggest moments here. But don't fault Snoop Huntley out there. The dude had them a double-digit lead. That fourth quarter, absolute collapse on the defense. We'll get to that much more, but let's get to the early lineup, the hottest topics across the sports landscape. Gardner Minshew, hey, back-to-back weeks with an ACL tear for the quarterbacks of the Kansas City Chiefs. First, this was Patrick Mahomes. Now it's Gardner Minshew at this point. And by the way, 26-9, they got hammered by the Titans. It's a wrap in Kansas City, man.
It really is, and I wonder, what they're going to do from there. There's got to be some other veteran quarterback that they can sign off a practice squad somewhere, or at least someone that has some level of starting experience. My mind immediately goes to is Spencer Rattler on the Saints practice squad? Because I don't think he's on their active roster anymore, knowing that they've been starting Shuck, right? So, and they have Taysom Hill. What is he listed as? So is there some quarterback that at least has starting experience that the Chiefs could bring in just to weather the storm over the final 2 weeks?
Yeah, they're probably just going to get, and again, Denver, I think, is coming up. They're just going to get buried. That is an awful-looking football team that looks disinterested. Even Travis Kelce can't even get any yards. It's like, hey, bro, I'm playing my final 3 games. You might want to throw me the football. They couldn't even do that yesterday as they got hammered. Jordan Love got a concussion in that important Chicago Bears game, which saw Malik Willis come in and play pretty well, but they folded in the fourth quarter, a double-digit lead, which went to overtime. Great plays by Caleb Williams. The cardiac Bears move on. The Green Bay Packers now wonder if they're even going to get their quarterback back this week.
Right, and there's still a path forward that the Packers do not make the playoffs. There's a whole lot going on when it comes to the NFC playoff picture, but specifically the NFC North with the Bears clinching because of the Steelers' win. The Packers, are they going to have Jordan Love back? Can they make the playoffs with Malik Willis? I don't know. But it's certainly not going to be an easy path over the final 2 weeks. And the Lions, like I said, are not technically eliminated. And this does present a slight opening for them if Love is not able to go.
Marcus Freeman's going to be the top candidate for the New York Giants, at least that top college coach that they're looking at. Would be a pretty good move here. You're trying to restart the Giants, and maybe Marcus Freeman's the guy to do it.
Yeah, I got to say the Giants have a lot of pieces. Dart, Cam Scatterbo in the backfield, Malik Neighbors once he's back healthy, Theo Johnson, Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton. They're going to have a high draft pick. It's going to be 2 or 3, maybe even 1. So if you fix the offensive line and you can fix the defense, you're actually working with a good amount of talent on the Giants right now. New direction, new GM, new head coach. That could be a pretty good spot.
Can't believe this game last night. If you were watching it, Lamar Jackson bows out here, but the defense was playing well for the Baltimore Ravens. The running game was intact. Tyler Huntley comes in 9 of 10 passing, and they lost that game up double digits. With about 10 minutes to go in that game, you had Derrick Henry, 18 carries for 128 yards and 2 touchdowns. He didn't touch the football the rest of the way. Absolutely incredible. But by the way, it felt like you saw this coming. Drake May was so comfortable in that pocket, every single thing. It felt like he didn't even have an incomplete pass for 3 hours last night as you watched it play out. He was sensational. The Ravens were terrible. And the Ravens, they're going to be knocked out of the playoffs. Next week, the Pittsburgh Steelers will beat Cleveland, and the Ravens will be done. And Lamar Jackson, I don't know, got touched on his back and said, you know what, just don't feel like playing anymore, and he's out.
The Pats, they kind of struggled a little bit to start the game, where the Ravens offense came down, scored on that first drive. They shut them down on offense. Things were looking good for the Ravens. They really were. But to your point, once Lamar got out, it's like they lost all the energy. And, Snoop Huntley played pretty well. I thought they had a chance to win. And then the defense is the issue. They dealt with a ton of injuries. They got healthier as the season's gone on, and they have been playing better. But, man, this is a collapse of all sorts, especially with not getting Henry the ball that late in the game. When you had the lead, you're letting Ramondre Stevenson – remember, Travion Henderson left the game for the Pats, and you're letting Ramondre Stevenson be the guy to beat you? Unacceptable.
No semblance of a running game for the final quarter and a half, and the Ravens still couldn't stop them. By the way, on that last drive, you had a jumped pass on 3rd and 2 that was dropped for an interception, and somehow a route that was jumped to Stephon Diggs, which still found its way to Stephon Diggs, which ended up getting a 1st and 10 at the 28-yard line. No excuses from the Ravens. They'll be out. And by the way, they're 7-8. They deserve to be out of the playoffs, which is the way that game started. And Tom points out as well, Ravens go right down and score a touchdown. Then New England comes back, throws the interception, and the Ravens looking to put that game away early. Derrick Henry, one of his inexcusable fumbles again. They did it to themselves, and that's why they sit at 7-8. Ed Cooley, if you're watching college basketball right now, which I haven't seen a lot of, he's firing water bottles into the stands, rocking off kids' domes here. You can't do that. He'll be suspended against Coppin State. What a tough penalty.
Yeah, obviously this is not a good thing to whip something into the stands and it hit a child or a toddler. I mean, I don't know if we do, but I saw the clip. It's a little crazy. Obviously you want him to have things under control when it's all said and done. So deal with the suspension, move on. It's not obviously prime games yet, and they'll be fine.
Yeah, we've all gotten angry in the past, but I saw the highlight and I saw the post-game press conference where Tom, he was actually apologizing for it. I got to go around and find that clip just to see what it exactly looks like here. The hot stove in Major League Baseball continues to turn as we get closer to the Christmas date this week. Murakami, Japanese slugger, joins the Chicago White Sox. Oof, Chicago White Sox probably got to sign 10 of this guy to try to compete next year.
Yeah, he's got a ton of power. He swings and misses a lot as well. It's a good deal for him, given the fact that it's only 2 years. It's not super high average per year AAV. So get 2 years, get some experience, show other teams that you're worth it, and then he'll be a full-on free agent. There's no ARB years for him, so he can sign a then larger deal. And he's only 25, so he'll be 27 when he signs that contract. Nice 5-6 year deal for him. He'll be in a good spot.
Sox trying to turn it around here. Maybe it's going to take some time. We'll see. But it's certainly a power-hitting player on your team doesn't hurt. And by the way, this was supposed to be a team 2 to 3 years ago. We say, hey, man, they're going to run that division for the next couple of years. They were absolutely bottom feeders this year. The FanDuel Sports Network, not to go out of business at this point. Understand this. You're looking at regional sports. Like I live in Philadelphia. It's Xfinity. You know, you watch the Philadelphia Phillies. They have unlimited funds because of the regional sports television rights. If you are a Major League Baseball team that's basically giving your rights away now, how are we meeting payrolls out here, Tom?
It's a great question. There's so much up in the air where they bought this from Bailey's Sports Network, and they've had it for a little while at this point, couple of years. It's obviously not been successful. The issue would be that regional smaller markets are not going to be able to sustain themselves. They're also not going to literally have a home to show their games for their fans. So this deal needs to get done just to keep them afloat. It's not like they're going to be cruising out in front and have all this leeway. They need to get this done just for the bare minimum. And frankly, it doesn't look good.
No, it doesn't look good here at that point right now. You got to get that money flowing into the coffers so you can pay for that extra payroll as it happens. And by the way, college football this weekend went exactly the way I thought it would. Outside of Oklahoma, up 17 points on Alabama, they got beat. Miami with an exciting low-scoring game on Saturday, which came down to the end, which I was screaming at Mario Cristobal for not coaching up his team. But then, as we saw, which is a good thing, Tom, the G5 was not competitive. They have to be kicked out of the college football playoff. Again, Notre Dame getting left out, which means we're going to get expansion. The G5's entering into the equation when everybody believes they shouldn't be there. They proved exactly why they shouldn't be there. Much more to come on the early line on Monday morning. Championship edition? Maybe at least armchair edition. We'll be right back.
I'm just saying, if I were a good NFL head coach, if I were a hot offensive coordinator, and that coaching cycle's going to come around, and they're like, hey, do you want the Giants job? Or do you want the Michigan job? I think the Michigan job is much better.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
They're doing a new show about a Japanese interpreter.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they're doing like I don't know if it's a documentary or like actors are in it.
It's got to.
I think it's a drama.
It's a real show.
It's like a scripted show.
Yeah.
About a Japanese interpreter.
Yes.
I wonder who's getting paid for that.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
You ain't buying no tickets.
Who isn't?
You're not going to
Saying
these
from a
games.
fan. Of course I'm not. There's a fan. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but if you were a fan, I thought you were a fan of the Hurricanes. You're not
They told me.
They smashed
I told them to donate my tickets.
Yeah, so I get it. But the fans travel. They have money, believe it or not. It's amazing.
In this economy,
but they have money. I don't know. See what Kelsey says about the economy.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Look, the trend continues to go to Blake Corum. He's still available. I can't believe he's still available. So if you have Kyron Williams, you got to have Blake Corum on your roster. And if you don't have Kyron Williams, I think you still want Blake Corum on your roster. You got to have these insurance policies on your roster at the very least. Even in a shallow league, if Blake Corum's floating out there, don't let him float out there. The last thing you want to have happen is for him to end up on some other team and then taking you the next couple weeks to win a championship.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Big boys are going to come to play, Tom, sooner than later in college football as we get down to the final 8 teams or the final 4 teams to the championship rounds. We're looking forward to that, and it's coming up. And you get a little bit of a reprieve because college football somehow has this stupid bowl system where it's like, we can't play in a week's time. We have to spread it out and play because the Rose Bowl needs to play. When the Rose Bowl goes away, I will light a cigar and be like, you know what? Smoking on that Rose Bowl pack. Get it out of my life and bowl season. But, Tom, the top spread lines are here. We still have bowl season. And I guess people will watch tomorrow at 9 p.m. UNLV and Ohio. a 3.5-point favorite to a 6.5-point favorite, a total of 65.5. And bowl season, Tom. But before we get there, we're going to talk about the Scooters Coffee Bowl. What did they pay? $1 to sponsor this bowl?
Certainly, I think at least $1 to sponsor this one. UNLV on the road, 6.5-point favorites. They've been a good ATS team this year. Coming away with wins. I would say that this is a step up in class for Ohio, who we have to remember, as we spoke about last week, Donnie, fire their head coach. So they will be operating with a new head coach after the allegations that he is under. So give me UNLV to cover. I don't know about the total, but they're going to come away with a win.
Yeah, you should know about the total in the Scooters Bowl. By the way, the FanDuel Network should actually buy that bowl here and try to advertise so they can stay in business at this point. How about that? Scooters, by the way, have you ever heard of Scooters, Tom? Honestly, like Scooters Coffee, was it?
No. Yeah,
like, I wonder if it's like a little like mom and pop shop. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, you know what? We'll just sponsor this bowl at this point. Never heard of it in my life. And by the way, nobody be watching that game, so you wasted your money on that sponsorship here. Let's move forward. Now, this was a rite of passage here for a long time, Tom. California and Hawaii in the Sheraton Hawaii Bowl. Hawaii always gets this bowl, and they always did a service. Because years and years and years, Tom, I was growing up, you know what we used to watch on Christmas Eve? There were no sports on. It was the best of ESPN highlights throughout the year that they ran on a loop for like 10 hours. That's all we got. Thank you, Hawaii, for coming in. So when I get angry at bowl season, this might be the only bowl that should be there as a standalone game on Christmas Eve at 8 p.m. It's Cal, it's Hawaii. -1.5 now. Hawaii is a favorite. 52.5 as a total. At least there's something to watch on Christmas Eve. Thank you, Sheraton Hawaii Bowl.
I'll say this, that, Hawaii 6-1 at home this year. If there's any team I'm going to back with significant home field advantage, it's going to be Hawaii. With the travel that a mediocre Cal team has to endure, we're just basically picking the money line at this point. If we want to go there, I think that's fine. The 1.5 is also going to be there, but I think Hawaii keeps it up, and they improve to 7-1 at home this year.
All right, how about that? Let's keep it moving here to basketball, and I just got to find this game. So we got Rockets and Lakers. So this is a Thursday game we're previewing? Holy moly.
Christmas Day.
Now you know the spread lines are really bad today. We don't even have any action to talk about. Christmas Day, Rockets and Lakers, as I try to find this game here. And by the way, let's have some more fun with the spread lines. Over under 2 people watch this game, even though the NFL games stink. I won't be watching Rockets-Lakers, Tom. What's your spread line for this game that's like 6 days in advance?
The Rockets have been unbelievable, but this game is really about points, and the Lakers are consistently getting into games where they're winning 140, 230, as we saw. Granted, they're not playing the Jazz as they will be on Christmas Day. This is a premier matchup, but, give me points in this game. And, frankly, I lean with the Rockets. They have been absolutely fantastic. I like the defense that they play. You can contain one of Luka or LeBron, and I think they'll look to try and contain Luka, and I don't know if LeBron will have enough to overcome what the Rockets have on depth.
By the way, you know what? I got an idea for the NBA, Tom. Move it all to Christmas Eve. Since nobody's going to be watching your sport on Christmas Day, got stolen by the NFL. What do you think about that? If we have the full slate Christmas Eve in the NBA to try to save it?
Well, it depends on what day Christmas is. Because if Christmas is on a Wednesday or Tuesday, they're never going to have
NFL
a full
still
set
plays.
of games. They're not going to play. They're not going to play on a Tuesday. They can't play on one day rest.
Yeah, no, they would put the buys in later in the season. The NFL's always going to have Christmas now, which is wild, isn't it? But they completely overtaken it because of how much money they have. I'm telling you, if I'm the NBA, move it to Christmas Eve, or how about just December 26th, where it's like, okay, everybody's probably off anyway. Let's have that full slate. It's crazy because, again, growing up, they used to have like 1 or 2 Christmas days. Usually like Michael Jordan and the Bulls would play like against the Knicks on Christmas night. And it was like, okay, let's watch NBA. And now like the NBA gets pulverized by the NFL, which the NFL does cannibalize a lot here. Dallas Mavericks, Golden State Warriors, 5 o'clock Christmas Day. Another game, Tom. I won't be watching, so fill in your spread line for me.
Yeah, Golden State laying a big number at home, at least that I'm seeing now, 7.5. Yeah. I would only expect that number to grow. I would say the same thing about the total at 227.5. If you're liking the Dubs to come away with the win at home, I would say jump in now. And I also say, look to some points now before, we really see a ton of public money start to flood in on this, and all of a sudden it creeps up to 228, 229, whatever it might be. So I would say jump in now before the public gets to it.
Back, Tom, I think it was maybe the late 80s, early 90s. Like, this is how crazy it is. Like, I got my first VCR in my own room, and the one thing I did tape was the only game on TV that day. Chicago Bulls played and Michael Jordan. How about that for nostalgia? Getting the VCR for Christmas and taping the game here. back when the NBA was king. Cavaliers and Knicks, a 12 noon start game on Christmas Day. How many games we got in the NBA that were wasted on this? 5.5 points, man. What do you got on this one, Tom?
Christmas Day noon game unders is what I generally go with. Noon games an early start enough. Getting everyone to the arena, dealing with families early in the morning, whatever it might be. Things start off slow. So, first half under is something that I truly do like. We see some scoring late, but I would lean first half under and full game under for Knicks Cavs. Knicks laying 5.5, which seems like a bit much, but they have been a machine this year.
How about this, Tom? We take a look at Christmas Eve and December 26th. What if I tell you we play every single meaningless bowl game that there's out there on December 26th outside the college football playoff, and we load up the NBA on Christmas Eve? Like, you might have a winner right there at this point. Would you participate in having 15 or 20 bowl games in one day and just having an absolute feast?
I mean, would I participate? I think I would have action on a few of them. I wouldn't be on all of them, but getting them all over in one fell swoop, I don't think is a bad idea. And then really just concentrate on the best games, which would be the CFP, the college football playoffs, which is where the real action should be happening.
Could I sell you on this, like an NBA marathon? Do you remember in college basketball, we used to play like the round-the-clock games? Like the Knicks would play at 5 a.m., then maybe Brooklyn would play at 7 a.m., Charlotte would play at 9 a.m. Like, I could get into this. We can get people watching these sports as well. But if you are, Adam Silver in the NBA, like, you owned Christmas Day. Like, you made so much money off Christmas Day, and now it's like banished to the back closet, like CNBC probably, for some of these games. It is what it is. The world evolves. You got to change or adapt, or you die. Phillip Rivers. What's he going to do tonight? We're going to talk about that next. Me and Tom back right after this.
I'm just saying, if I were a good NFL head coach, if I were a hot offensive coordinator, and that coaching cycle's going to come around, and they're like, hey, do you want the Giants job? Or do you want the Michigan job? I think the Michigan job is much better.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
They're doing a new show about a Japanese interpreter.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they're doing like I don't know if it's a documentary or like actors are in it.
It's got
I think it's a drama.
It's a real show.
It's like a scripted show?
Yeah.
About a Japanese interpreter?
Yes.
I wonder who's getting paid for that.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
You ain't buying no tickets.
Who isn't?
You're not going to
I'm
these
a
games.
fan. Of course I'm not. That's a fan. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but if you were a fan, I thought you were a fan of the Hurricanes. You're not anymore.
They told me.
They
I
smashed
told them
you.
to donate my tickets.
Yeah, so I get it. But the fans travel. They have money, believe it or not. It's amazing.
In this economy,
but they have money. I don't know. See what Kelsey says about the economy.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Look, the trend continues to go to Blake Corum. He's still available. I can't believe he's still available. So if you have Kyron Williams, you got to have Blake Corum on your roster. And if you don't have Kyron Williams, I think you still want Blake Corum on your roster. You got to have these insurance policies on your roster at the very least. Even in a shallow league, if Blake Corum's floating out there, don't let him float out there. The last thing you want to have happen is for him to end up on some other team and then taking you the next couple weeks to win a championship.
Fantasy Sports Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Oh, we got a game tonight. Monday Night Football. A lot on the line, too. San Francisco still with hopes there to win the NFC West. Tom would be a number one overall seed in the NFC. And then there's the Indianapolis Colts, who we were doing like segments on this show, Tom, about if they were for real, but more importantly, that they would be the number one overall seed. And my goodness, how good Daniel Jones has been. Fast forward to now, losing streak, can't get out of their own way. They'll face San Francisco, who's living a little bit of a charmed life. You look at that San Francisco 49ers schedule and who they played, in particular the quarterbacks they're playing, They are living a pretty good life right now. They're the favorite tonight, -5.5. We were as high, Tom, this week at 6.5, and now we see the total also at 46.5. Phillip Rivers, yeoman's effort. They probably should have won that game against Seattle. Seattle had a much better defense on the road. Now you're home in the Dome against San Francisco, but the question remains, what are we getting out of Phillip Rivers? Well, let's start with that line here, Tom. Favorites on the road for San Francisco, -5.5.
The line feels right to me. It is. It would never be as low as 3. There'd be way too much buy-in to San Francisco at this point. And then to see a team that, I'm not going to say that they're playoff bound, but if the line were to be at 7, there'd be too much buy-in to the Colts at that point. So it's got to fall in between the 5.5. It's a bit of a weird number at this point. What I'm expecting from Phil Rivers, Donnie, is what we saw last week, plus let's call it 10%, right? Where last week he was in the 120s for yards. Can he push to the 130s or 140s? Sure. Is he going to be flying over any numbers? No. The same thing that they did last week is what they have to do this week. They cannot allow the game to get out of control. They have to keep the game within arm's reach, run the ball with Taylor, keep the ball away from CMC and the 49ers offense, and then just keep it within grasp. And if you do that, you'll have a shot to win. Don't let the 49ers get up 17-3. That's a disaster.
You're getting some really low numbers, obviously, because Phillip Rivers is at 157, so you correlate those to the wideouts. There's not a lot of, high numbers that these guys should hit. But understand this, too, because Tom is right. The way this game is supposed to go for the Colts is they didn't say, you know what, didn't work last week. Hey, Phil, 45 pass attempts. Let's really see if we can air it out. They're not going to do that. It's 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Move the chains. Hopefully the 49ers can't hold the football. And you do something like the Steelers did yesterday to the Detroit Lions. You only got 3 plays in the third quarter. That's like their dream scenario. But I look at Brock Purdy. And if we go with the quarterback matchup, just on the passing yards, Tom, 243.5 and 157.5 are the splits here. I also look like Phillip Rivers. I don't know if he gets to 160, but you're right. I expect him to be a little bit better. You don't play a game for 5 years. The game plan is keep it on the ground. You practice for 3 days. What did we anticipate? So I do think it's going to be better also. His arm is shot, but you know what's good? They play in a dome. You have to deal with any weather conditions, even a 5-mile-an-hour wind. That should help. But Brock Purdy's 243.5 is interesting to me because if you are Phillip Rivers and the Colts slowing the game down, do you really need to throw for 250 yards for Brock Purdy? But also the adage is, well, what happens if you get a 14-3 lead at the end of the first quarter by San Francisco? That completely breaks this game open. I'm almost looking to the unders, Tom, on both of these quarterbacks because I think the gameplay is more of the clock's going to be ticking, and I don't know if we get the explosive plays.
There's so much going on with these different markets about what we're expecting from quarterbacks and what we're expecting from the game flow overall. If we take a look at some of the rushing props, Jonathan Taylor's rush attempts prop is 23.5. That's 23.5. We rarely ever see that. Normally it's 19.5, a 20.5. It's like I have to really talk myself into a 20.5 number for Jonathan Taylor. But that should tell you enough about what the Colts are trying to do with a 23.5 number. So 24 for him, 24 carries if he were to go over, 97.5 is his rushing yards total. That would be them running, 2/3 run play to 1/3 pass play, which again, I think is what they want to do. But man, 24, 25 rush attempts just seem so much, Donnie.
Yeah, by the way, you look at the running backs here to hit pay dirt. -250 on Jonathan Taylor, -210 on Christian McCaffrey. Insane. They don't want you anywhere around those touchdown props betting him here. George Kittle's a +120 price. Juwan Jennings +155. I actually like that. If I had to double down on San Francisco, it probably would be Kittle, Juwan Jennings, +120, +155. But then it's really a crapshoot for the Colts. You do expect. Now, here's the one thing I will say. I do think Phillip Rivers, though, tonight, Tom, does throw a touchdown pass. And you're looking at those pass catchers, +250 Tyler Warren, Michael Pittman Jr. +350, Alec Pierce 5-1. Because if you get inside the 10-yard line, that's a pick play, that's a quick slant, which you saw him throw in Seattle. I don't think that's too bad of an option. I don't think Phillip Rivers gets shut out of the touchdown market tonight, so somebody's got to catch one.
Yeah, I would look to Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman did play with Phil Rivers 5 years ago in the 2020 season, Pittman's rookie year, when he came into USC. So I don't mind that play. And again, we're not expecting 3 touchdowns from Phil Rivers, but you give him 1, Jonathan Taylor gets 1, they add in a field goal or 2. That is probably their game plan tonight. Get to 17 or 20 points.
Yeah, look at Tyler Warren, 33.5. Michael Pittman Jr., same number as he was last week, 31.5. Downs, 26.5. Pierce, 20.5. Here's the theory on this. I'm telling you, if you can get a Niners lead, you might be able to ladder those Colts guys because if Rivers throws for 190, you're blasting through a ton of those. Let's get to what happened yesterday in the NFL. Boy, was it crazy. Next.
if I told you 25 years ago that you could bet $1,000 on whether or not the Miami Dolphins would go 25 years without a playoff win, that probably would have returned 10 mil, if not more.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you could do that on Kalshi right now or on Polymarket right now and pick any team you want.
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Michael Jordan retired at the age of 30 in 1993. He missed the 93-94 season. Furthermore, he came back for 17 games in 1995 when he gave up baseball. And when I mean gave up baseball, he gave up baseball on March 18th and came back to basketball March 19th, which means no ramp up, no training camp, no nothing.
Pro basketball today. Only on SportsGrid.
You ain't buying no tickets.
Who isn't?
You're not going to
I'm
these
saying I'm a
games.
fan. Of course I'm not. There's a fan. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but if you were a fan, I thought you were a fan of the Hurricanes. You're not anymore.
They told me. I
smashed
told them
you.
to donate my tickets.
Yeah, so I get it. But the fans travel. They have money, believe it or not. It's amazing. They do. Well, somebody's got money.
In this economy,
But they have money. I don't know. See what Kalshi says about the economy.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I see the Lions making it when it's all said and done. I talked to Brady Cannon about this. We were doing our show on Sunday night. I think the Bears are just a season early. I think they're a year early in their development. They are winning games, and they still have a negative point differential. The turnovers are keeping them afloat. That's just not sustainable when it's all said and done. Ben Johnson has done a fantastic job. Next year will be the year they truly take a lead.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
NFC South feels like the team that gets into the playoffs just going to be cannon fodder for anybody that plays them, and you're probably lining up if you don't win your division and say, please, just let us play the Carolina Panthers and or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers went on the road yesterday to Carolina as 3-point favorites. Final score did end up at 3, but the losers were the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The winners were the Carolina Panthers. 23-20 final score. Baker Mayfield, 145 yards passing and 1 touchdown. Bryce Young, 191 yards, but he had 2 touchdown passes. Both of these teams tried to crank up their running games. And by the way, Tampa Bay, 33 carries, $169, 5.1 yards per carry. Not good enough. Igbuka, 40 yards, only 1 catch. Mike Evans had 5 catches for 31 yards, but did score here. I don't know what's going on with Tampa Bay. They just can't seem to get right. And yesterday was one of those games where, hey, it looks like you might be able to pull this out in the fourth quarter. And Baker Mayfield shows up and throws an interception to kill that game. And the Carolina Panthers, Tom, now in the driver's seat to win that division.
Absolute craziness from that game yesterday. Yeah. And what were the Bucs? 6-1 or 6-2 at one point in the season, whatever it was, and they have been an absolute downfall since then. Yes, they've been dealing with a ton of injuries, but they've been back for a couple weeks now, at least having Mike Evans back in the fold. Chris Godwin came back earlier in the year. Emeka Buka's been dealing with injuries. He started off the year super hot. Bucky Irving finally came back. There's just been no level of consistency from either their offense or their defense. Their defense is the thing that you would think that they could hang their hat on with Todd Bowles as their head coach and trying to keep things under control. They didn't show it against the Falcons. They didn't show it against the Panthers. There's been no push on offense, no juice. There's been nothing drawing me to the Bucs. And I'll say this, Donnie, to your point, whoever faces them, if the Rams face them, they'll be 2.5-point favorites again at the Bucs in round 1, a wild card matchup. And the Rams will be 5.5, 6-point favorites at the Panthers because neither of these teams, the Bucs or the Panthers, are going to do anything in the playoffs.
No, they're not going to do anything in the playoffs. But again, some team has to make the playoffs, so maybe they can surprise. We'll see if they do that. But also understand this. Like Carolina just beat Tampa Bay yesterday. So theoretically as a tiebreaker. But again, they're going to play in the final week of the season. Buccaneers are still a -175 price to win that division. Why? Because everybody's just trying to chalk up, I guess, an automatic loss this weekend for the Panthers and an automatic win for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But we've seen that play out. Some of these dogs just don't lie down, and some of these teams that are supposed to play and win easy games, they don't do that. How do you feel about that odds point there with Tampa Bay, Tom, -175 after that game yesterday?
I think it's a bit much. I think it should be closer to a pick 'em at this point. Now, yes, the Panthers are at home this week. They're 7.5-point home underdogs taking on Seattle. Seattle's coming off of extra rest because they played on that wild Thursday night game against the Rams. So, when we see the Bucs taking on Tampa. The Bucs are Tampa. The Bucs taking on the Dolphins, going from Tampa to Miami. So not a whole lot of travel for them. If the Panthers lose, it comes down to next week. That's all that matters.
Yeah, again, they're probably going to tee it up there in Week 18. That game will be home against Tampa. And the odds makers are saying, you know what, you're correlating what's going to happen in Week 17. Looks like easy win for one side, easy loss for the other, if you will. But again, we've seen so many teams creep up and continue this next game. Buffalo Bills. Yeah, go ahead, man.
One point real quick. Yeah. If you think the Panthers win the division, shouldn't you be somewhat interested in them potentially winning against Seattle at a better number of 3-1? Now, obviously, it's not the exact same. They can lose and they can win, but you might as well take a shot on a bigger number because if they do win this week, you're getting a 3-1 number instead of plus 140. And I know it's not the exact market, but just keep that in mind.
Like, are we on the assumption also, because I didn't go down the rabbit hole of tiebreakers here. So let's just say the Buccaneers win this week and Carolina wins. That game in Week 18 still matters for something. But what happens if this weekend we see like Carolina wins and the Bucs lose? Like, does the game Week 18 don't mean anything at that point? I guess it doesn't. Yeah. So they could clinch the division theoretically this weekend. Yeah, because it'll be 2 losses.
I believe that's right. Yeah.
2-game difference. Amazing stuff, man. You'll see. And again, you're giving the Bucs a lot of credit for easy wins when they haven't had any easy wins and lost to, quite frankly, bad football teams over this past couple weeks as we played out. Buffalo Bills 23-20 over the Cleveland Browns yesterday. This was a 10.5-point spread. Shedeur Sanders 20 of 29 through 2 picks. QBR rating 26.3. It's actually much better than it's been in the past. Josh Allen didn't have to do much. 12 of 19 for $130. No touchdowns and no interceptions. That, man. Bills moving on. Shame that they thought maybe the New England Patriots would take a loss last night. They didn't, but close game in Cleveland. As Cleveland has 3 wins, Buffalo Bills moved to their 11th win of the season.
I'll say this. The Bills won the game. That's all I can tell you from that because they didn't look good. They didn't cover the number. Josh Allen got a little bit banged up, dealing with that foot or ankle, knee injury, whatever it was. He took that 22-yard sack, which was almost a safety. James Cook looked great, pouring in a couple touchdowns, which is good to see. But the passing offense from the Bills was absolutely inept. And granted, Cleveland's got a good defense. We know that. Credit to them. They kept it inside the number. They were really within inside the number the whole game. But the Bills continue to be a yo-yo team, up and down and up and down. And, the next 2 weeks matter to them, which is something we haven't been able to say over the past 2 years. They have to close out the season strong.
A win is a win. Let's hear from Josh Allen here.
Thanks, Larry. Is that a sigh of release then or something?
Yeah, just, again, we feel like we're in playoff mode now, and it's just find a way to win a football game. Obviously wasn't the prettiest way we can win. Got some stuff to clean up, but we'll take a victory.
What happened? Anyway, to the second quarter, you guys were smoking, and you just all call away. Yeah.
Well, they get paid too on that side to make adjustments and make plays, and I feel like starting with me just didn't make enough plays, especially in that second half, taking the boneheaded sack there right before half, not giving us a chance to double dip. So a lot of stuff to clean up, a lot to learn from, but we'll take it.
To add insult to injury, too, Tom, in that game, the Cleveland Browns, my goodness, Quinshad Judkins breaks his leg, maybe some knee damage here. Just a bad game yesterday overall for apparently both sides.
Yeah, Judkins was having a really strong rookie season, and this puts the beginning of next year into question, depending on the severity of it. Obviously, we'll find out more as the days go on. But, he was a kind of a bright spot for their offense, which they didn't have many. So to see him go down really puts things in question for the start of next season, what they're going to do with the quarterback position. And then their other bright spot would be Harold Fandon, who had a great game. He continues to impress, and they should look to build around Judkins and Harold Fandon and then figure out the quarterback situation because we know the defense is good.
Yeah, no doubt about it here. By the way, James Cook having a sensational season for the Buffalo Bills. He is going to be that catalyst and that workhorse once they get to the playoffs. You see the 2 top guys there in the Buffalo Bills organization for rushing, O.J. Simpson, James Cook with 1,415 yards with still 2 games to go. One game coming up next week against the Philadelphia Eagles here, Tom. We'll keep it moving in Tennessee. An easy win for the Tennessee Titans. Yeah, you had that yesterday. After a 0-0 first quarter, 26 points over the final 3 quarters, only 9 for the Kansas City Chiefs. Minshew came into this game hoping to sort of light a little bit of a spark in a season that's already out. Like, I get some of my guys involved. Yeah, he goes 3 for 8, tears his knee up. Olakun comes in, 11 of 16. Look at that rushing game for Kansas City here. 15 carries, 51 yards. Xavier Worthy led the way with 41 yards receiving along with Pacheco. They were embarrassing yesterday. The season is over. Time to wrap it up, B.
Yeah, I would have thought that the Kansas City defense and that the coaching discrepancy with Andy Reid on the sideline would have at least kept the Chiefs competitive in this game. The line was 3, dropped to 2.5, before kickoff yesterday. I would have liked to think that the Chiefs and Spagnuolo and Reid and all these pieces that they have would at least make this a competitive game, and Gardner Minshew would have managed his way to a victory. Now, obviously, he got hurt. Things change, but really credit to Cam Ward and the Titans offense for putting up the points against a still very good defense when it's all said and done. So Cam Ward, credit to them. They come away with the win. You build some momentum going into the offseason, and I like some of the pieces that the Titans have, but they just need to get more of them.
Yeah, Pollard's been, by the way, really good this, or at least lately here, trying to keep that ground game to sort of say, Cam Ward, I'm going to give you a little bit of help here. 21 carries for 102 yesterday, almost 5 yards per carry. And Cam Ward, efficient too. 21 of 28, 228, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, a passer rating of 122, and a QBR rating of 34.5. I don't know where Kansas City goes the next 2 games here to sort of shut it down, but I was almost under the impression, didn't bet it, like, okay, there's nothing left to do but get Kelsey some yards before he retires, Tom. You take a look at that game, 1 catch, 6 yards. This team is just bad. It's bad on the eyes.
It really is. And if this truly is his last season with the last few games, you would like to think that they make an effort just to get him, like you said, a few extra catches, a few extra yards, whatever it might do for him, an extra touchdown, move him up in the team standings in terms of records overall.
I wonder if he retires at the end of the season, because next year, probably not looking too optimistic as well with no all-season for Patrick Mahomes. College football's on deck. Come on back.
If I told you 25 years ago that you could bet $1,000 on whether or not the Miami Dolphins would go 25 years without a playoff win, that probably would have returned 10 mil, if not more.
Oh, yeah.
Like if you could do that on Kalshi right now or on Polymarket right now and pick any team you want.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Michael Jordan retired at the age of 30 in 1993. He missed the 93-94 season. Furthermore, he came back for 17 games in 1995 when he gave up baseball. And when I mean gave up baseball, he gave up baseball on March 18th and came back to basketball March 19th, which means no ramp up, no training camp, no nothing.
Pro basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
You ain't buying no tickets.
Who isn't?
You're not going to
saying
these
if I'm
games.
a fan. Of course I'm not. There's a fan. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, but if you were a fan, I thought you were a fan of the Hurricanes. You're not
They told me. I told them to donate my tickets.
Yeah, so I get it. But the fans travel. They have money, believe it or not. It's amazing.
Somebody's got money. In this economy,
they have money. I don't know. See what Kalshi says about the economy.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I see the Lions making it when it's all said and done. I talked to Brady Cannon about this. We were doing our show on Sunday night. I think the Bears are just a season early. I think they're a year early in their development. They are winning games, and they still have a negative point differential. The turnovers are keeping them afloat. That's just not sustainable when it's all said and done. Ben Johnson has done a fantastic job. Next year will be the year they truly take a lead.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
college football playoff, everybody a little bit upset, like, oh, how did we pick these teams and how do we wind up here? The one thing that we did know is this past weekend, we were probably going to get 2 football games that at least would be competitive and 2 teams that you say deserve to be there. Alabama, Oklahoma, and then you take a look at Texas A&M and Miami. Quite frankly, we got some entertainment out of those games, Tom. If we do start Friday night, Alabama and Oklahoma looked like they were going to beat Alabama by 40 points. We all laughed about Alabama and how terrible they were down the stretch until they weren't, which meant Oklahoma had to do things like, let me just drop the punt instead of kick it. And John Mateer, let me just throw it directly to an Alabama player in the flat by himself who walks in for a touchdown, and you find yourself tied at the half. And then Alabama carried the second half for a 10-point victory over Oklahoma. I was surprised by that because when the initial listings came out for lines and also teams playing, I'm like, you know what? I think Alabama's going to bounce back. And then you see the market movement and the money go, wait a second. I'm expecting Alabama to bounce back when we don't know if there's an injury or not to their quarterback, Ty Simpson's back, and no way they can go through with this. And you find themselves getting hammered. Then they won, Tom. Just, again, everything this weekend had so many crazy comebacks. Alabama, Oklahoma was one of those.
It wasn't. It was also far more scoring than I anticipated. We know how good the OU defense is really for the entirety of the season, how they kind of kept things under control the first time that these teams played during the regular season. And just the amount of scoring that we saw, especially the way the swings went, how Alabama came surging back and put up all the points late, I was very surprised with. You know, Alabama still has a lot to figure out, especially when it comes to their run game on offense. And they face a tough test going up against Indiana, who's coming off a bye. We have 4 great matchups, though, Donnie. That's what we can say this week. We didn't necessarily have 4 great matchups this past weekend.
No, we didn't. But Miami and Texas A&M, 10-3 final. Nobody could really kick field goals, particularly Miami, missing every single time it felt like they had opportunities here. But I got to tell you, in this game, Miami played well. Texas A&M played well. It's all relative to like, oh, when it was offense, it was ugly. I sometimes enjoy some. It's like a baseball game, 2-1 in the playoffs. Like, man, it was really clean at this point. This game was interesting to me because, like, I scream where it's so easy from sitting on the couch where I don't get paid millions of dollars to be on the sideline. But usually when you're on your couch, Tom, you know when to call timeouts for players. You know when you have to tell your players what to do out there and what makes some sense to coach them up. Case in point, late in that game, Miami goes on their game-winning drive. You had a 3rd down play, which Texas A&M was out of timeouts under the 2-minute warning. You ran a jet sweep, which was a chance that you can break containment and score a touchdown, which is exactly what Malachi Toney did. So if Malachi Toney runs around right end and sees he has that 1st down and throttles down and slides maybe around the 1 or 2 yard line, the game is over. Miami will win that game because 2 things could happen. And some people might say, Tom, well, the kicker was really bad. All right, well, is he really bad at like a 17-yard field goal? We would find that out. But also this, if you slide it to 2, the clock was going to continue to run. So if you want to run more play and run it in, that's 40 seconds less than Texas A&M would actually have, and you would score the same touchdown. Or if you run it and they stop you, 40 seconds goes off the clock, you run it again, score a touchdown. Again, the game is over at that point because there's minimal time left. Or even if you just took 2 knees and kicked it with 1 second left and made a field goal. So you saw this coming just like you did last night with that Ravens collapse at the end of the game. A&M marches right down the football field and has it inside the red zone, inside the 10-yard line, throws an interception, Tom. Did you have any thoughts about the Malachi Toney play? Like, why would you not tell him to get down? It's like rule number 1.
Yeah, so this is what we see often. It's like it's such a natural thing to just put up 7 points. It's like, oh, they haven't been able to score, so we might as well go out by a touchdown and hope that our defense can continue to do the thing that they've done the entire game, which is hold them under control. But those are minutia of the game that make a huge difference. The situational awareness in all sports is massive. Knowing that you can take that knee or, to your point, slide inbounds in the 2 or 3 yard line and then take a knee and then kick the field goal, or just try and get another rushing touchdown after you slide inbounds at that point. The time and the scoring are what's important. It's not just the scoring. It's not just the time. It has to be both of them. And that situational awareness is what really makes championship teams. Knowing when to go out of bounds, knowing when to stay in bounds, everything matters.
Everything does matter at this point. You know what else matters too? Kicking the G5 completely out of the equation. Like sometimes I see like just let the big boys play football in big boy football games. G5, if I'm telling you right now, bowl season stinks. have your own separate playoff. If you want to have fun and degenerates want to watch and waste their time, they can do that. But I'm tired of, everybody knew this. And also, you saw some people like, why would they put the Oregon game on tonight in Miami at 12:30? Exactly, because those two games nobody was going to watch. At least at noon without the NFL games, you were going to sit home and you were watch Miami and Texas A&M play. It's a shame that we had four games this weekend. You look forward to the game on Friday night. You look forward to the games at 12 o'clock. And then after that, you didn't care. Like, I bet the first half of Oregon, I bet the first half of Tulane. Both smoke show winners in the first half, easy as you can get. But I watch it and go, boy, I would have liked to see Oregon and Notre Dame. Boy, I would have liked to see an Ole Miss play Texas at this point. Instead, we got absolute slop fest, which, Tom, have to end. You can't have G5s in this. You just can't. Or expand the playoff, give the top seed, the G5 team, as a de facto bye to wipe the floor with them.
And, you know, even if we saw BYU at Ole Miss, BYU still would have been an underdog.
Yes,
it's not like
correct.
They would have been as high of an under or as massive of a spread as we saw with Ole Miss versus Tulane. But if you put in Notre Dame, BYU, Texas, some combination of those teams, it makes everything better. You get everything better top to bottom. We get higher quality opponents. We get tighter spreads, which is what we want to see. And then even if one of those teams do move on, a BYU versus Ohio State, like that is still a better matchup than we would ever get versus any G5 team versus those teams. Because, Donnie, if one of those teams were to upset, what would be the spread be versus Indiana or Ohio State? We'd be laying 3 touchdowns, as we saw, even more with Oregon laying 20.5. Versus JMU. So we can't be having this. We truly want the best. Those teams in the G5 are not the 12 best teams in the country.
It's a complete waste of time. And it's really a shame because you could have had an epic Friday and Saturday as you moved on towards the next round of the college football playoff. And you got 2 games that you expected to be somewhat interesting, and they were. And you got 2 games that nobody absolutely cared about here. And quite frankly, if the Oregon one was funny to me. It ended up 51-34. And they were talking to the players after the game like, yeah, like it was like a morgue in the locker room. Like, we didn't play well. And you know, usually it's a jubilate celebration where you're part, like Miami, Texas A&M, Miami won. They were partying in that game. Same thing when you take a look at Alabama. They loved it absolutely, and rightfully so. You look at the other 2 games, like, well, wait, we were supposed to win it, and we move on. Now, the big boys are going to come to play next week in the bowl season because those bowls actually matter with the big boys out. But the G5, they have to be removed from the conversation. It's not participation trophies anymore. Get them out. Why not a Division III team with a place at the table or Division II at that point? It's ridiculous. We're going to move on and talk some NBA action next right here on the Early Line.
This season is about coming together, sharing moments.
We're going to go with the over tonight.
And celebrating what connects us. It's lighting the candles, gathering like a team, and finding joy in every night. 8 nights of tradition, 8 nights of celebration, 8 chances to shine. Happy Hanukkah from all of us at SportsGrid.
I see the Lions making it when it's all said and done. I talked to Brady Cannon about this. We were doing our show on Sunday night. I think the Bears are just a season early. I think they're a year early in their development. They are winning games, and they still have a negative point differential. The turnovers are keeping them afloat. That's just not sustainable when it's all said and done. Ben Johnson has done a fantastic job. Next year will be the year they truly take a lead.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
They're doing a new show about a Japanese interpreter.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they're doing like I don't know if it's a documentary or like actors are in it.
It's kind of.
I think it's a drama.
It's a real show.
It's like a scripted show.
Yeah.
About a Japanese interpreter.
Yes.
I wonder who's getting paid for that.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
Super Bowl MVP, multiple Super Bowl chances there, Super Bowl championship as they got it. Nick Sirianni said on the radio, no chance that Jalen Hurts is going to be benched. But by the way, Jalen Hurts didn't play the last 3 games. I think the Eagles would be 3-0 in those games, though. Just saying, Joe.
Oh, wow. How the mighty have fallen. When the Eagles fans turn on their quarterback, it's getting ugly in Philly, folks.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
NBA action, it's fantastic. I can't wait to get into the NBA. Sometime around like March or April, that's when I'll sort of settle in and be like, okay, let's watch this NBA action and see if we can have some fun. But understand this, the NBA is doing a really good thing here, Tom. And I don't know if anybody's seen the tweet out here, but Shams Charania had posted this, and this was on the 19th. The NBA is enacting several sports betting policies to its 30 teams, including changing injury reporting rules. Teams now will be required to resubmit injury listings on game day between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. local and update the public reports every 15 minutes, sources tell ESPN. Now, this is an interesting one because I like what they're doing because they're putting a microscope on this of an issue where, hold on now. Like, this line was 5 in the morning. Why is it 10 now? Oh, well, at 4:45, Giannis's knee started to hurt him. But understand this. They're still going to do the same thing. Like, if we're updating every 15 minutes, he's fine, he's fine, he's fine. Who's to say that they'd know he's not fine and then just wait till the end of the day just to say he's not fine anyway? Like, there are ways to skirt this, but I do understand what the NBA is trying to do because their regular season, you depend on sports gamblers of watching your sport. And if sports gamblers check out, nobody's watching the NBA until after football season, Tom.
Yeah, this is it's a tough situation. Like there has to be more reporting, but to your point, if they know a player is going to be sitting out, like there's just going to be some type of scheduled rest day that they know ahead of time, they could just put it up until the last minute and say he's fine, he's fine, like you're saying, and then they'll think, oh, he's actually out. And they knew he was going to be out at 11 a.m., but they're not saying that until 4 p.m. or whatever it might be leading up to game time. So there needs to be more guardrails in place for these teams that they have to follow certain things. But at a certain point, is it too much? Are we going too deep into this? Because if we just want to know if the players are going to be playing and we want it to be factual at the time that we make our bets, because as you were saying, a line differential of 4, 5, 6 points is massive in the NBA. A player not being there is massive when it comes to player props, which is what most people like when it comes to the NBA. And these lines shift dramatically. So put a guardrail there, but we kind of got to refine the system when it's all said and done.
Yeah. No, we do, because we just want a good product here. But like in the NFL, yes, we do watch for inactives on Sunday, but you know who those inactives are coming way before. Like Adam Schefter, 2 a.m. is all right, here's who's playing, here's not playing tomorrow. And you sort of make your mind up on that. And you get to see the practice reports. But take a look at this practice report, I guess you could say, for Kevin Durant. Quote, I stopped getting cuts, stopped lotioning. I might go 2 days without hopping in that water. This coming from me, Tom, where I take a minimum of 2 showers a day. When I wake up in the morning and when I go to bed at night automatically. And sometimes you get a good workout in the afternoon, you take a shower. They were up to 3 showers in a single day. An NBA player working out and playing games and saying, sometimes I go 2 days without a shower. Get out of here. I can't even imagine that.
I mean, I don't know if he's using that as a tactic going up against players down low on the block, but yeah, I'm right there with you with the 2 per day. That's what it should really be. 1 in the morning, 1 at night, whatever it is. But listen, he's legitimately one of the greatest scorers ever in the history of the NBA. One of the most efficient shooters. If that's his thing, listen, I can't compare because I'm not that great shooter, but hey, if it works for KD, it's got to work for him.
Keep it clean, man. What are we doing out here in these streets? And by the way, the NFL, we have to understand Hall of Fames are a business, and I get that here. If we understand the Pro Football Hall of Fame, tough to get into. Usually baseball is, even though they have these veteran committees that just letting guys say, hey, 20 straight years you didn't get voted in, but we'll put you in. I find that nauseating. But the NBA, I feel like, Tom, if you made it to the NBA and dribbled a basketball, you probably will eventually get into the Hall of Fame. Blake Griffin was a really good player. Blake Griffin's not a Hall of Famer. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just, cutting it down. 6-time All-Star grade, 5-time All-NBA, was a great dunker, never won a damn thing, and he'll get in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I don't like seeing All-Star as the first accolade being listed for a player in any sport because more often than not, All-Star are fan votes. So correct. Blake Griffin was a great player. Blake Griffin was a really exciting player. He was a fan favorite. He was all these things top to bottom, whatever you want to call it. And that's really is great. And that's awesome to have. Everyone loved him. He's doing things now that people love. But that's not a Hall of Fame worthy resume when it's all said and done. So I like Blake Griffin. I love the dunk contest that he was in. I like him jumping over cars, doing all these sorts of things. But just because you do those things doesn't mean that you're a Hall of Famer.
Exactly. It's like Eli Manning. You're under 500 for your career. No way you're getting in the Hall of Fame. Average player at best. Let's move it on to Audie Crooks. By the way, I have seen some highlights here of Audie Crooks. 41 in 30 minutes, her third 40-point game of the season. That's hard to do in women's college basketball. It's beating up on people out here.
It really is. The efficiency is what's the most impressive thing at this point. You're doing so in a game that is a shorter time compared to the men's game. The points are going to be there, and the headlines will only continue, and the points are only going to go up.
Audie Crooks, baby. Get to know that name as we roll into hour number 2. More hot topics on the way. Don't you go anywhere. We'll be back.